Hi folks, Bob Reese here with the Guides Forecast, giving you a forecast for tomorrow, August 25th, opening day for the non-mark select fishery. I did check with fishery managers today, got confirmation that although we are progressing through the impacts slightly faster than the models had indicated for the fishery, it looks promising to have a robust, well, if you call 14 days of non-mark select fishing robust, but we should get a good portion of that fishery, maybe even through the projected closure, preseason projected closure of September 7th. So hopefully we have a good couple of strong weeks of good Chinook fishing, especially since it seems like the run is larger than anticipated, with a number of fish we're seeing handled and caught and released and marking on the fish finder. It just looks like we're going to play into another season of an under prediction for fall salmon numbers. That's our hope anyway. The run size update really doesn't happen until the second week of September, so we won't have any in-season management decisions until that run size update, but hopefully numbers keep progressing well. I don't even know how they're tracking this year compared to last, but there's a lot of fish in the estuary and a lot of jacks as well. So as you might have heard in the report, we had some good success. Again, fishing deep, we were 115 on the line counter. We were 35 to 50 strips for those that went out without line counters. So we're continuing with the theme of deep water Chinook, and I'll show you a picture of one of the spinner rigs that we've been putting chunk baits on that have been working well for that deep water troll on Chinook, particularly on the last part of outgoing tide and the first push of incoming as well. So it's been a good couple of days. The best bite, as you also might have learned from the report, was most of the day on last part of outgoing, and most of the entire incoming tide, either the bridge hover or just above the bridge, all the way up to the uprivermost anchored ship, which is by the Coast Guard station on the west side of Tongue Point. There were a lot of Chinook in that area, a lot caught, a lot not caught. The fish finder just looks like it's loaded from top to bottom with salmon, and we see them rolling, we see them scooting around on the surface there. Even though we're not putting the absolute smack down on these fish, it's partially probably because of warm water, about 69 degrees, just shy of 70 degrees. But a ton of fish in the estuary, and when they bite, even when they don't bite so well, there is still pretty good action. So tomorrow morning, if you do start early, I think you're going to be wasting your time. You're going to have to find some soft water, such as the single piling due north of Hammond. You get behind downstream of Desdemona Sands, where a lot of the water velocity is blocked. I just don't think it's going to be overly productive. That's a little bit better during coho season, but if you are going to start early, that's probably where I would go. Your better bet is to probably do a 7 or a 7:30 start and catch the tail end of this minus tide in the morning. It will scream out until about that time, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Catch the last part of outgoing in the deep water on the Chinook side. There were some fish also on the red line this morning on that last part of outgoing tide. Again, recommend that you use heavy leads and troll deep. These fish are clearly running deep. And whether or not that incoming tide push and the early part is going to produce, I don't have a lot of faith. It hasn't the last couple days for Chinook, but there are more coho showing up, and I think any day we're going to see some really larger quantities of coho show up in the Buoy 10 fishery. If you choose to stay out at the Buoy 10 line and wait for those rips to come through, there should be building numbers of coho coming across the deadline. You might have heard me say in one of my earlier reports that my tuna fishing friends that are fishing 30 miles offshore are having a heck of a time keeping the coho off their gear. So and they're of exceptional size. So there's going to be one heck of a wad of fish come back to this river. Don't know if it's necessarily going to be in the next couple days, but it certainly should be before the end of August, which is rapidly approaching. So keep an eye on that bridge fishery on the Oregon side. There's been good history there the last 3 days. Washington side, not a lot of effort or reports coming from that Washington side. It just seems like the fish are stacked up on the Oregon side, and so take advantage of that. It is going to be a wild card. It was a total surprise that action was happening around the bridge and just upstream on the tides we have. That's typically produces better on small tide exchanges. Even though we had a weak outgoing tide in the afternoon, it was a pretty good flood this morning, and flooded, peaked out about 1 o'clock. So tomorrow will be about 2 o'clock high tide. So fish are where you find them. Take another look at that spinner rig. Spin fish have been working well. We had several bites on a naked whole rigged herring, again fish deep, and they even had some at 16 strips of 20 ounces on the bow rods. We were getting hit pretty good on the first part of the incoming push. They were Chinook that we didn't stick, but they were biting there nonetheless, between buoy 11 and buoy 10 on the first part of the incoming tide. So hopefully the information helps you. Again, thanks for being paid subscribers to the Guides Forecast. We'll have a good detailed report for Thursday's edition of the Guides Forecast, assuming I stay awake at the keyboard. So good night, good luck, and happy Merry Christmas. Opening day tomorrow. Non-marked select Chinook salmon, buoy 10. Get yours today.